Okay guys, today we're going to be talking about something called the rational root theorem. And basically what this theorem is going to do is it's going to allow us to find roots through guessing and checking without just having to guess every number in existence. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So our goal here is to be able to factor polynomials using this rational root theorem to determine which numbers are potential roots or which numbers are the rational roots of the polynomial. So, for example, if I gave you this first polynomial given an a. It says to find the roots of the following functions algebraically, and a couple of problems already start to pop up. Number one, this is not quadratic. We would like this to be a quadratic if we're going to use the Gcf method, right? Because normally we're very used to saying, well, let's take negative 12 and 1, multiply them, list our factors of negative 12, which of those numbers add up to negative 13. That won't work here because we're not trying to find the factors of a quadratic. This is a cubic. So then, because we've recognized this is a cubic, we would like to use our method from yesterday, but the problem is x is not a factor of each term. So I can't factor out an x like I did yesterday. So we run into a little bit of an issue here. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use this thing that's called the rational root theorem. So what I'm going to do here off to the side is I'm going to write that rational root theorem, and then I'll explain it. So what this says is that all of our rational roots, rational being a pretty key word here, rational means that it can be written as a fraction, right? Irrational would be something like a repeating or a non-repeating decimal or pi or something like that. But we're talking about rational roots. So all of our rational roots are of this form. If we divide the factors of c by the factors of a, that will allow us to narrow our field and test for those rational roots. I know that's a lot right now, but let's just think about this for a second. If I were to graph this polynomial, we know that it's a positive odd polynomial, so we know that it looks something like this, right? And the other thing we know is that it has 3 roots. So that could be a root, that could be a root, and that could be a root, potentially. What I'm trying to do is find what those 3 roots are now by guessing and checking. So what I could do right now is I could just say, let's see if 100 works. And I could put 100 in and do 100 to the third minus 13 times 100 minus 12. And if it equaled 0, then 100 is a root. But that does not equal 0, so 100 is not a root. The problem is there are an infinite number of numbers you could choose from. So what the rational root theorem does is it says, instead of testing every number in existence, let's just test these numbers. What are my factors of c? Well, c is 12, or negative 12. So we could use 12, we could use 6, we could use 4, 3, 2, or 1. All of those are factors of 12. And what are my factors of a? Well, a is 1, so 1 is its only factor. We don't have to write the negatives because that's covered here by this plus minus. We're going to use positive or negative versions of all of these combinations. So then what we'll do is we'll say, let's start figuring out what these factors could be. If I do 12 divided by 1, I will get 12. So I'll test 12. 12 to the third power minus 13x, which is now 12, minus 12. And I should be using a calculator here. I don't want to do this by hand. Gives me 1,560. And that tells me that 12 is not a root. So I've got to keep looking. So the next number I'm going to test is negative 12. And I'm going to see what I get in the calculator. 126. All right. Let's list out all of the numbers that we're going to test. So take a second and write these out. And just to clear things up, where I'm getting these from are these combinations, right? 12 divided by 1, that could be positive or negative. So that would be 12 or negative 12. 4 divided by 1 could be positive, could be negative. That's where these combinations are coming from. So I've got to test each of these numbers quickly using my calculator. If I test 6, I get 126. Actually, I don't think that equals 126. I misread. That's 1,584. Negative 1,584. Still not 0, right? If I test negative 6, I get negative 150. If I test 4, I get 0. That's great. So I found one of my roots. If I test negative 4, I get negative 24. 3 gives me 24, negative 24. Negative 3, though, gives me 0. That's another root. And I know that because this is a cubic, there's one more root out there. If I test 2, I get negative 30. If I test negative 2, I get 6. If I test 1, I get negative 24. And if I test negative 1, I get my final 0. Now, there's no guarantee that all of your roots are going to be here, but it looks like we got lucky here and we found our roots. Our roots are negative 3, negative 1, and 4. It's just guessing and checking to find roots, but you're not guessing every number. You've narrowed your search to only these numbers. So again, in B, we run into the same problem, right? And it's not a quadratic. X is not a factor of each of our terms, so we're going to have to use our rational root theorem to narrow the field of possible roots. So that's going to be plus or minus our factors of C, which are 2 and 1, all over our factors of A, which are also 2 and 1. So these are our possible roots. All right, so now you're going to notice that our denominator is not a 1 anymore. So some of our rational roots could be fractions. That's okay, right? Because this comes from the combination of 1 divided by 2. These come from the combination of either 2 over 2 or 1 over 1, right? Those would both give me 1, and then I could do 2 divided by 1, which would give me these 2's. So I've got to test each of these. If I test 2, I get a 0 automatically. That's great. Found one of them. If I test negative 2, that's negative 20. If I test 1, that's negative 2. If I test negative 1, that's a 0. If I test 1/2, that's a 0. And just for fun, even though I know that this is not going to be a root, because it's only going to have 3, because it is a cubic, if I test negative 1, my calculator shows me that that would equal 2.5. So again, we found our 3 roots. They are negative 1, negative 1, 1/2, and 2. And you might say that this is fast, because I do think it's fast. It's going to get a little more complicated, though, when we start running into polynomials that are of higher degree than 3. Okay, so here we've got a quartic polynomial that we're going to do for our last one. Just to remind us of end behavior, this is an odd negative polynomial. It would look, it's an even negative polynomial. It would look something like that. We're saying this has 4 roots, and in order to find all of the rational roots, we're going to have to use our rational root theorem. So we're going to say positive or negative versions of our factors of C, which are 6, 3, 2, and 1, over our factors of A, which would just be 1. So let's go ahead and list all these combinations and test them. So these are all my potential roots. And I would encourage you guys, doing this video right now by yourself, I would encourage you to pause it right now and test this on your own. See if you can test these, and then I'm going to put the answers here so you'll be able to see the answers. But test it with Desmos. So hopefully you did that, and you tried to find them on your own and see what the values are of plugging in each of those potential roots. And you'll notice that even though this is a quartic, which says that it does have 4 roots, right? This is definitely true. It's a 4th degree polynomial. It has 4 roots. But we've only been able to find 2 here that are rational. The key here is that this method only helps you find the rational roots. So let's write that. This will help us find our rational roots, but we know that because this has 4 roots, there must be 2 roots that are not rational roots. They're either going to be irrational roots or maybe they're going to be imaginary. We're not really sure, but they could be any of those other types of roots. But what we do know is that there are 2 roots that we found at x equals negative 2 and 3, and we're going to have to work to figure out where those other 2 roots are. For now, we're going to stick with you just finding the rational roots, and then in our next lesson, we'll work on how to find some of those irrational roots and take it from here. All right? See you guys tomorrow.